In this video, we're going to talk about HotDocs repeats. We're going to use the same document you've used all along in this series, the separation agreement. You can open the same exact library you've been working with, so I'll give you a moment to do that. I'm going to, in the meantime, I'm going to select the separation agreement and click Edit. Now, in this particular document, before I talk about what a repeat is, you've done a lot of different things. You've created the template, you've placed variable fields on the document as well as created those variables. You may or may not have watched the videos about if and else if logic. I actually have that in here already. One of the things that you haven't done if you're watching this video is you haven't been able to address areas where you may have multiple of something. So I have multiple children, maybe in other documents you're working with because you've started to leave the training series a little bit, or at least apply what you're learning in the training series into those documents. You may have multiple defendants in those documents. Perhaps you have multiple assets in those documents, or you have multiple, if it's something like a collateral document, you have multiple pieces of collateral. So how do you address things like that in HotDocs? One of the most inefficient ways of doing it is creating defendant 1 variable, defendant 2 variable, defendant 3 variable, defendant 4 variable, so on and so forth. You get my idea. Not really wanting to make you feel bad if that's what you've done in HotDocs and you're now just watching this video for the first time and you've never, maybe you taught yourself or you really didn't understand the power of repeats. Because I see that a lot with my clients who are coming to me and maybe have been self-taught or didn't get a chance to attend our training and they didn't know that this feature was in HotDocs that I'm about to show you. So jumping from that to where we're going to go, I'm going to teach you how to use one variable, one set. We're going to use child first, middle, and last name here for our first one. I'm going to skip the age computation. That's done in a separate video for computations. But I'm going to just address how do I handle when I have multiple children. And we're going to talk about, the how do I handle it in creating the component and how do I handle it in placing it on the document in different ways you may do that. I'll show you one of the ways and then we can talk about other ways. So one of the things that, going back to the example that I stated before, and I'm not showing anything other than the Word document right now, is that when we talk about defendant 1 variable, defendant 2 variable, defendant 3 variable, defendant 4 variable, why I mention that that's an inefficient way of doing it is because you never know how many defendants you're going to have for a case. You may have 1, which is great, that'll work. You may have 15. And really, how do you handle creating all these variables for the unknown? And that's where repeats are great, because what they allow you to do is create a loop. So I'm going to show you what a repeat is first. I'm just going to demonstrate one. I'm going to create it very quickly and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do this at my component manager. So you can see I've gone over here to my HotDocs ribbon and clicked on component manager, and I'm just going to dock it using this button arrange windows, which you should know very well by now. I'm going to create a new component and it's going to be a dialog. Again, this is not for you to go step by step with me, and this is just for you to sit back, watch, eat some popcorn, enjoy yourself. I'm going to create a dialog, and you've been used to creating a regular dialog. So I'm going to create the dialog the way that you would have done in the past already. Actually, it looks like we have a child information one in here, so I won't do it from scratch. I'll just delete mine and create it again. So for demo purposes, we have a child information one. You can see it has a question about emancipation, first, middle, and last name, the date of birth. If you look at this dialog, it looks like a spreadsheet. This is awesome. One set of variables, emancipation, first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, but I can actually fill them out more than one time. I could say, well, Bob here, and we'll make Bob born 1995. We'll say that, Betty Bob's sister is an emancipated minor. Let's give her a different birth month. And let's say that she is born in 19. This is where I have to do the math in my head, y'all. 90. She may be more than a minor. She would have been 25. She's not an emancipated minor anymore, is she? Let's go ahead and change her birth date. At least you guys can get some amusement on this, right? Okay, we'll change Bob's birthday to 2003. Okay. So we now have some dates in here. Now this isn't going to produce anything on the document, but you can see that for as many children as I need to enter, whether it's 2 or whether it's 25, I can enter them. Now, if I want to have this handled on the document, I need to be able to have the fields for the children information on the document. So first name, middle name, last name, date of birth if I need it, but I'm going to handle that in another video with computations. All of that has to be handled on the document the way you've already learned by putting variable fields on the form. What I'm going to teach you is how do I take this information that has been entered and then have it print on the document from this dialog. I want to show you a little bit about this dialog before we move forward, and I have you create it from scratch. First thing, like I mentioned, you're used to working with regular dialogues. If this was a regular dialogue, this is what it would look like. I wouldn't have a spreadsheet. I wouldn't be able to enter anything more than one child. And that's where, if you've taught yourself, kudos for doing the best that you could with what you knew how to do. I really think it's great when people just forge ahead and try to do what they can with the software. But hopefully this will enhance what you already learned. If you haven't learned any of this, this will get you started out on the right path for best practices. So, the limitation of the regular dialogue is it only lets you answer that information one time.